Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the moon. And I'm your host for this evening, Lawrence Ray. And today I'm joined by my esteemed co-hosts, as per usual, Ricardo Martinez and Jerry. So today we have some interesting news about NFT art. And we also have interesting news about different companies accepting cryptocurrency and much, much more. So stick around to hear the news. Ricardo, Jerry, first off, how has this week or last 2 weeks been for you guys?
Oh, it's been great for me. I did the interview with Max Hillebrand on our YouTube channel about being a crypto nomad. And yeah, I think it went really well. It was a really interesting conversation.
Nice. Yeah, I watched that actually. And yeah, I liked it. I saw that on YouTube, watched about most of it. I think like 90% of it. What about you, Jerry?
Yeah, I had a pretty great week as well. Had an interesting discussion with you and the other guys on Clubhouse regarding, living on crypto. So I think that was, didn't say anything actually, but I, learned a lot listening to you guys. So it's been okay.
Nice. Yeah. Good way to plug the Clubhouse room as well, right? For anyone out there, if you're interested, we have like a Clubhouse room we're doing, not necessarily a Bitrefill one, but just some of the people are involved in about living on crypto. And there were some interesting topics being discussed on the room, I must confess, like invisible ink and stuff that was a bit crazy. But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it, and hopefully we can do some more. But yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's move on to the news. So who would like to go first this week? Any volunteers?
Well, we could talk about NFTs. I mean, it's been a pretty huge week for NFTs, with regards, especially the news where the NFTs, the art they sold for, I think 60 million plus. I mean, that was pretty insane. Like, to be honest, with all due respect, I mean no disrespect, to anybody else out there who's into NFTs, but I think you're pretty stupid. I mean, what's the point? I mean, there's been some, theories around that, could be some fund for money laundering. So I just want to get your thoughts. What do you guys think about NFTs?
Well, it's one of those things. I quite liked the idea when I came across it a few months ago before this, like, it was kind of starting to boom, but it wasn't like hugely going over the top like it is now. And at the time I was interested to see like, okay, how can this be used for other things? And like, how can like NFTs be useful in like the world? I quite liked the idea behind it, but yeah, I can see like why people can't understand it. Cause obviously there's the idea that you can just copy the image and then you've got the image, right? But yeah, like the idea. So for clarity, I guess the point that's being made with NFT art is that, okay, you can copy it, sure. But the way to think of it is, okay, you haven't got copyright or anything. You just have this NFT that shows ownership. But if you're collecting Pokemon cards or baseball cards or any other cards in real life, right, you don't own the right to redistribute that card and print another card, or you don't own the rights to the picture on it. You just own a unique thing that's rare, and that's it, right? It's just one of one. So that's kind of what NFT is doing, right? You're not buying the rights to like suddenly print thousands of them or whatever, and you're not buying the copyright rights so someone else can just copy it, but you own the actual token, which makes it unique and rare. So that's kind of the point. But yeah, I also see how it's kind of pointless at the same time. What about you, Ricardo?
I've actually talked to two no-coiner friends this week about NFTs, and they were both super excited about them. I asked them to explain to me why they were excited about them, because I kind of think they're stupid too. One of my friends is a musician, and he's excited about it because he sees it as like, if he releases a song, he can sell like the original, like first copy of the song, or like, a serialized like first 1,000 copies or something, and turn his music into a collector's item. Like, yeah, anybody could pirate the MP3 or whatever, but having the NFT, I guess, signifies, it's like a status symbol thing, like that you have like a Gucci handbag or whatever it may be. My other friend is super pumped on them, and he thinks that they're going to be important in like VR and augmented reality, which he sees as like a huge like sector of growth in the future. He thinks like all video games are eventually going to be in VR, and people are going to be using augmented reality for work, and digital collectibles will become like a phenomenon in those virtual worlds and those ecosystems. So
I like that music idea actually, that like you can kind of be like, you have the original first recording. I kind of get it. I do get it. Like there's part of me that thinks, I'm a huge fan of like certain musicians, and so if I could buy like MF Doom's first ever recording of like certain albums, that, like Mad Villainy and things that he's done, then that would be super cool, and I'd be super up for it if I had lots of money lying around. So I kind of get that, but other than that, I can kind of see where you guys are coming from. Like, I think the current marketplace for it is done. Like, it's just anyone's shoving something up there, and it's just selling for loads of money, and it's just going to crash at some point and then mature, which I think will be good for it.
I think this reminds me of during the time of crypto kitties, where were a thing. People were breeding cats and selling cats. Eventually, it just fizzed into thin air. Nobody talked about it. It just here's something that bothers me about NFTs. Okay, Jack, Twitter CEO, made a tweet and sold it for, I think I can't remember the amount. $400,000. Yeah,
a lot of money. Yeah,
a ton of money. So, what was the person actually owning? Like, you have the tweet. Do you want to hang the tweet in your house? Do you want to keep it? I'm trying to understand the logic behind owning a tweet.
All right, yeah. So we cut out there, but essentially, I think from memory, we were just talking about how we didn't quite see the value in Jack's tweet being NFT'd because it wasn't like NFT'd at the time that the tweet was made. And also, I just personally don't see the point in owning a tweet, quite frankly, if you even get ownership with the NFT. Okay, well, I'll head on next with my piece of news. So my piece of news this week is regarding, essentially the headline was Kessler hotels to accept cryptocurrency payment through BitPay. And it's just talking about how this group of hotels, this luxury group of hotels, is now accepting cryptocurrency for their services. So buying a hotel room and things like that. Which isn't, super amazing news. I guess they're the first. I think they're the first hotel chain to do it, not just like individual hotel, which is awesome because it kind of is showing that the service industry is kind of coming on board. But it begs me the question, okay, what do you guys think on the case of like companies and services and different places accepting cryptocurrency? How long do you think it is until we're going to start seeing like most places accepting crypto? How like a lot of places didn't accept debit card and credit card for a while, and then it became just the norm that everywhere accepts them. How long do you reckon it is until we get at least half the places out there accepting crypto for services and products?
I do think it would take a pretty long while because I do not think we are at that level of adoption yet. Spending money is an issue of convenience, you understand? And right now, people do not feel comfortable actually, spending crypto. People invest in cryptos to actually reap the USD gains, in the future. They invest in cryptocurrency. So I don't see how people will invest in an asset and now they spend that asset, except it becomes a necessity. So you get me. So that's why I said it's an issue of convenience. Using debit card is quite convenient. You don't have to hold actual physical cash in your hand. So it's the same thing for cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency has to become a little bit more saturated, be in more hands, and people can easily give it. It has to become a thing. Like when people start earning Bitcoin as paycheck, then we can start seeing these increase in people spending and paying for stuff in cryptocurrencies.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a fair kind of commentary or thought. The convenience is a huge thing. What's your thoughts on this one, Ricardo? We've seen a lot more places coming on board in the last couple of months compared to this time last year. What's your thoughts?
First of all, I'd like it a lot better if they used a BTC Pay server rather than BitPay. I'm not really a fan of BitPay. But I mean, it's always good that they're accepting Bitcoin, I guess. As far as adoption for payments in a lot of emerging economies, for example, in Latin America, there's a huge portion of the population that's unbanked, like even having like a debit card or a credit card. So maybe they'll make the leap directly to crypto rather than go through like the banking of the populace stage, kind of like how developing infrastructure for cell phones kind of skipped developing like the landline infrastructure. It was just easier to implement cell phones. So maybe it'll go that way, but devaluation of currency, of national currencies, could force crypto adoption in the developing world a lot faster than first world economies.
This is something that so I think there's definitely groups of people who benefit more from living on crypto generally, like in the beginning, right? So your average person in the UK who just earns in pounds and goes to the local supermarket and stuff, probably not going to benefit as much. But as you say, like emerging markets or markets where like places where Venezuela or Argentina, where the currency is being devalued, you're going to see a lot more benefit immediately because, okay, not only is Bitcoin, et cetera, going up against the dollar over the last few months, but also against their currency, it's going up even more. But also, they're probably going to have like at least 99% of their assets and their money in crypto at this point. So they're going to want to just be able to spend with it as convenience. And also the shops are probably going to want to accept it because it's doing better than the local currency. So it makes sense. The other group is digital nomads, right? Like how much easier is it for you as a digital nomad? Because when I was like in Brazil and going around Europe and stuff, every time I used my card, it was like I had some stupid transaction fee and I spent so much money on transaction fees and I had to keep trying to work out what was what. And if you just have your money in Bitcoin or even USDT, if you're worried about, if you're not super crypto pro and you're worried about, the inflation and deflation side of the Bitcoin boom and bust cycles that comes with the halving, then you can just think in USDT and you don't get any extra transaction fees that way. It is what it is. Like you're buying something for this and it makes life so much easier. So I can see like hotels and stuff and touristy areas maybe beginning to get on board as well. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Have any of you guys ever tried to live like on crypto for like a period of time at all? Have you ever tried that experiment, like living wholly on crypto?
I've been
Yeah,
living
go
on
on.
crypto for a few years now, since
Awesome.
like 2016, I think.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Ricardo,
Yeah.
when you say living on crypto, do you mean that you don't convert to fiat before you actually spend?
I do convert to fiat a little bit. Like I use the exchange here to get cash when I need to. There's certain bills that I can't pay with gift cards or directly with Bitcoin. So I do have to sell. I sell Bitcoin to people that I know that want it, and then sometimes I use the exchange if I absolutely need cash, like in a hurry. But,
Yeah. I think that's the same for me. Bitrefill doesn't really offer much regards to products that can enable me live more comfortably. That would let me not have to convert to fiat. But right now I live on crypto in the sense that I do not own any fiat right now. Like all my liquid assets and at least 95% of my liquid asset is in cryptocurrencies. So mostly Bitcoin. So when I need to spend or pay bills or something, then I just use the local exchange here and convert to fiat.
Okay. Yeah, I'd consider both of those things living on crypto, right? Like if like over 95% or like close to 100% of your finances are in crypto and you're having to turn into fiat for things that you cannot otherwise pay, like bills, I'd consider that, yeah, living on crypto for sure. So yeah, I mean, I won't go into too exact, but I kind of share between the pound and crypto. I have quite a heavy amount in crypto compared to the pound, but I still I still have a bank account that I use basically properly. But I'm trying, once COVID kind of clears and I go back to traveling a lot more, then I will probably try living on crypto kind of 100%, because I tried it out a little bit for a week when I was in Brazil and it was pretty easy most of the time, to be honest. So yeah, so I just thought it was interesting to find that out. But yeah, I guess what's next on the news agenda, Ricardo? What have you picked up this week?
My story is about Ciphertrace and the Financial Action Task Force. Ciphertrace is like a blockchain analytics firm that tries to stop money laundering and financial crimes and stuff that use crypto. And right now they're releasing like a new version of their software that's compliant with the Financial Action Task Force guidelines to add travel rule information to every crypto transaction. Basically, the Financial Action Task Force is like an unelected body that sets like policy recommendations for governments to implement into their regulatory structure to combat money laundering and terrorism financing and things of that nature. So for banks, they already have this thing called the travel rule, which means that they send like all your personal information whenever you make like a transfer from one bank to another, or like to an international payment or whatever. And they're trying to get cryptocurrency companies to do so. they call the cryptocurrency companies virtual asset service providers. And there's like 150 different stakeholders in the nonprofit collaboration of the Financial Action Task Force Travel Rule Information Sharing Alliance. So
that was a mouthful.
yeah. So these companies, what they're trying to do is add all your personal information to every crypto transaction, and then use Ciphertrace's new software, like financial surveillance as a service, which is going to be compliant with the new rules that the Financial Action Task Force is urging everyone to get on board with. They're basically going to make crypto like a financial surveillance platform using the immutable records of the blockchain.
Right.
How do you guys feel about that?
Not happy is the answer to that one. I mean, I get why from their perspective they want to do this. Like, that, it makes sense from their perspective, right? Their job is to fight financial crime, and this will help them do that easily. But from my perspective, this is like precisely the reason. This kind of stuff is precisely the reason why, a big reason why I got into crypto in the first place. That and the Austrian economic side of it, with the anti-inflation and anti-modern economics view that I have. So yeah, that's not great news, basically, from my perspective at all. I can understand why governments and the FATF are into it, but yeah, please don't make this happen. please say this doesn't work. It's kind of my answer to this. I don't know about you, Jerry. Are you gonna change tune?
Yeah, like, I'm really not sure why you're surprised or you're being so antsy. It's something that we've been expecting for a while, with like what I told Ricardo, like when he told me about this, is that with every policy being formed, every step of the way, with regulations being up, we are getting to this point where crypto and traditional finance will completely there will be a breach, and you cannot distinguish between them anymore. And I do think that it would even become more stringent when you consider the nature of cryptocurrencies and the anonymous nature of cryptocurrencies. So what I'm even worried about is the fact that Bitcoin, the king of the cryptos, is still a bit, I think we in terms of development, there's a bit of stagnation regards to the development of privacy features on Bitcoin. So I think we should be far ahead than where we are right now, regards to improving the privacy of transactions on Bitcoin.
Yeah, so I guess I guess you'd be supportive of like some of the stuff that Monero is up to a degree, then, with regards to the privacy, which is fair enough.
I disagree.
Okay.
With Jerry. I think Bitcoin is actually about to have a huge boost in privacy features as soon as the Taproot soft fork gets implemented. It's going to allow programmable transactions that aggregate a bunch of different signatures and makes it look like a normal blockchain transaction. So coin joins and stuff are going to be drastically improved, and I think it's going to help with privacy in a big way.
Yeah, with coin joins, we do see exchanges actually blacklisting addresses or accounts that actually send out coins send out coins for mixing. So do you not think that there's still a kind of hindrance there? We are not totally out of the woods yet.
When it comes to Taproot and the ability to obscure where the funds are actually going by joining a bunch of public signatures into one signature, it's going to really make it hard for blockchain analysis firms to make educated guesses on which way the funds are moving.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of what would happen, a lot of things that will happen is dependent on how the crypto exchanges and all the companies in the blockchain space, how they would likely contribute or support the movement, because I think exchanges and other crypto companies, custodial companies that that are regulated in countries like the US and other every other place that they're regulated, I think they are the weak points right now. They are the weak links. Now, for instance, we have seen the very low adoption of Liquid Network that has privacy features and obviously quicker and faster transactions, and Lightning Network. The adoption of these two implementations have been so slow, especially right now. I think just about 3 exchanges have implemented Lightning, one of which is Bitfinex, and OKX is in the works. I'm not sure if Kraken has something in the works as well, but nothing definite. So it's still, I think we still have ways to go. That's the way I feel.
No, I think both of you have got points regarding like what you said regarding the exchanges being the weaker points is fair, because from an exchange's point of view, they're a business, they're making money, they want to keep making money. They're not going to want to sort of make a stand against the government on many points because it stops them from being able to make money potentially. And so it's quite commonsensical there. But yeah, what you said, Ricardo, regarding developments for basically adding more privacy is pretty cool, and it's good. There's quite a few different things being worked on like that. That whole RGB like third layer that allows more smart contract capability on Bitcoin that I read about the other day as well. So there's quite a few different like things that are being worked on. So yeah, it's quite encouraging, and hopefully we can see more privacy come to Bitcoin. Fingers crossed. And we can kind of combat some of this crap that the FATF and et al. Are up to, in my opinion. Yeah, okay, well, we'll move on to our next segment now, which is my favorite segment, as we all know by now, the game segment, because I get to watch you guys confused most of the time as to what the hell I'm on about. So this week, it's not crypto related. It is a game of guess the fake news headline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out 3 news headlines, and you guys have to guess which one is the fake one. So what we have here is number 1, plastic surgeon turns up for a Zoom court hearing whilst in the middle of operating on a patient. Number 2, mystery 23-foot sea beast weighing 4 tons found on beach in Wales. Number 3, 40 alligator heads seized in police raid on house in Birmingham. So you've got 2 UK related ones there, 1 US related one. What are your thoughts on? I guess
say the plastic surgeon Zoom one is the fake one.
Okay, so you're going for any reason why? Why are you going for that over the others?
It seems like he wouldn't have a medical license if that was true.
Okay, well, he might not now, I guess is one way of thinking about it. Yeah, that one I was yeah, it was interesting sounding one, that one. What about you, Jerry? What's your thoughts on this one? What are you going for?
Yeah, initially I wanted to, go with number 1, but you can't rule out any crazies, and especially in 2021, anything is possible. So number 2 seems sounds legit. So I'm gonna just go for number 3.
Okay. No. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, I like the way you worked that one out, Jerry. You were correct. It is number 3. I'll give you guys a little bit more context here. So I'll open up my links. So the first one was plastic surgeon turns up for Zoom court hearing while in the middle of operating on a patient. It happened. Californian plastic surgeon attended a virtual court while operating on a patient. There's a picture of him, Scott Green, it says there, and a policeman and a judge all on the Zoom call. Then, yeah, he said, the clerk said, "Are you available for trial? It kind of looks like you're in an operating room." And the doctor said, "Yes, I'm in the middle of the surgery, but please proceed." And then, yeah, he continued working. And yeah, that was kind of it, really. So it's just they're investigating him, but it happened, which is quite.
He still has his license.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think they're investigating, so it sounds like he's possibly gonna lose that license.
Give the people the name of that doctor so they don't go to him.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. We don't want to slander this doctor by any means, but yeah, his name, for anyone interested, appears to be Scott Green. But I don't know any more information. You can find out by looking on Sky News in the UK, and you can check that article. And the next one was a mystery 23-foot sea beast weighing 4 tons found on beach in Wales, which is correct. There was a 23-foot long beast with no face, and they were trying to work out what it was. And to date, they don't appear to have actually worked it out. And it does look really weird. It's like a giant alien sea thing. So yeah, that was an interesting one. And the last one was the true news headline was actually that 80 alligator heads had been seized in a police raid. And I made it 40. So I just thought, yeah, I'd underplay it. And Jerry sniffed me out by just kind of randomly guessing. So there you go. Yeah, some guy was like importing alligator heads or something illegally. Very strange idea, but hey ho. So on to our next segment and our final segment before the good news, which is what we're doing is our open segment, and it's a review of decentralized platforms like social medias, etc. So we've basically, myself and Ricardo have reviewed a number of platforms, and what we'll do, I will start off, and then Ricardo, you can go, and we'll take turns until we're done with all our platforms. We'll make it nice and quick as a summary. We don't want to bore you guys, but essentially what we're trying to do is let people know of different platforms out there that are cryptocurrency related and also decentralized, and just give you our thoughts on them, basically. So the first one is Peepeth, or Peepeth, depending how you want to say it. It's a social media I've used for a little while, and the pros on this one. So essentially, it's connected to Ethereum. There's a clean, simple interface. It's kind of Twitter-like, but everything you message, you get up to 15 peeps rather than tweets, which I quite like. But then every 15 you do, you then have to sign them and have the data saved onto the blockchain. But it's free to do, which I still haven't properly looked into, but I don't quite work that out how they do that. But it's free, and you can get tipped by users if they like what you're saying. And so it's quite like the idea is to try and make you say stuff that's worthwhile and not be horrible, etc., because it's going onto the blockchain, basically. And I actually got tips by someone last year with some ETH, and it was like 50 cents, but it's now worth like $6. So that was quite fun. But the cons are, it goes down sometimes for like a few hours or even a few days. There's not tons of users, and it's kind of like a clone of Twitter. So you're not really getting anything that different, I suppose, to Twitter. And you get a few like Ponzi schemes and scams that get posted on there. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And it's got a cute penguin logo. So can't get much better than that. What about you, Ricardo? What's your next one?
Mine is Sphynx Chat, which is a chat app that has Lightning Network integrated into it. So you can pay a couple sats and chat in the chat rooms, or you can send tips or donations or streaming donations to content creators. And right now, Sphynx is being most heavily adopted by podcasters. There's a thing called Sphynx Tribes, which is like, if you're a podcaster, you can set up your own Sphynx tribe and then have your listeners, like it's basically like a Discord server that has Lightning payments integrated into it. And right now, Podcasting 2.0 is like an open source podcasting movement, which is being spearheaded by Adam Curry, who is one of the inventors of the podcast. What they're trying to do is basically create like a index for podcasts that isn't controlled by a company like Apple, because right now Apple controls like the podcasting index that everybody tends to use. So they're trying to do that and then base the funding for the content creators around Sphynx Chat and Lightning payments, which I think is really, really cool. Tales from the Crypt is using it. Stephen Livera is using it. There's a bunch of other, Anita Posh is another one. There's a bunch of other podcasts that are currently using this as a way to generate income for the content that they're publishing.
Yeah, I checked that out a little bit as well, and I'm a fan of the concept. Want to get on there. The next one I looked at was called Twetch. So they all seem to kind of sound like rip-offs of the current social media platforms. But yeah, I went on to Twetch, and I didn't realize this at the time, but the biggest con immediately for me is that it's linked to BSV, and I'm not exactly a massive fan of BSV by any means, quite frankly. So that was an immediate con, but it could be a pro to someone out there, but to me, big con. Not to say BSV is a con, although I do believe that, but yeah, that's on the side of cons. But yeah, to be honest, when you get on there, it looks really professional, the website, like really nice UI, and it's quite simple and smooth, and like signing up really easy, like easier than a lot of Facebook and things like that. So I was really impressed with that. And when you get in there, it does look really appealing. Like everything's very simple, and there's like clear, nice colors. It's been well designed in that respect. And again, there's also quite a lot of people seem to be on there. I guess many BSV fans, I suppose. But the cons, I guess, from the point is that you have to pay to do like anything really. Follow someone, message someone, anything. You have to pay, and you have to pay with BSV. And I don't have any BSV for obvious reasons. So that was a kind of issue. And then I tried to do a free first post that you get, but then it just didn't work and didn't say why. It just said not working or something. So I couldn't publish anything. I couldn't follow the community bot that says it's free to follow, but it didn't work. So essentially nothing worked, but it looked great. So that's kind of that one. So I'm not going to recommend anyone goes to that one unless you're a fan of BSV, in which case try it out, I suppose. Might work for you.
All right. My next platform is LightTube, which is a YouTube alternative that has lightning tips integrated. So if you wanted to post a video there, you upload your video, and then if I wanted to watch your video and I liked it and wanted to give you a tip, I could send you a couple sats. And then once your video's generated enough sats for you to withdraw, you can withdraw them to your Lightning wallet.
Next one I've got is Minds, which isn't linked to any cryptocurrency, I don't believe, although I did see something about them having a cryptocurrency available, but I can't confirm on that one. It doesn't appear obviously like there's anything there. So the pros, I checked it out, and it kind of seems to take like the good parts of Facebook and Twitter and combine them, which is kind of cool. So it's quite simple, but there's like little elements that you don't get with Twitter that are kind of Facebook-esque. Although Facebook, in my opinion, is an overcluttered mess these days. So yeah, it does a good job of not being like that. It's free to use, and the newsfeed is literally only filled with people you follow, and that's it. There's no advertisements or things you might like, which wind me up. It's just you follow someone, you get those people on your newsfeed, which is awesome. The cons, I guess you could say it's like, again, too similar to Twitter in that there's nothing really that new going on there compared to the current social medias. And there's not that many people interacting, and a lot of QAnon and adult content is on there. So yeah, it's not the greatest in that respect, but there is some fun stuff as well on there, and it's not just, the bad. But yeah, I mean, for those reasons, I guess I wouldn't necessarily recommend unless, someone wants to give it a shot. Have you done any others, Ricardo?
Yeah, I have one more, which is Odyssey, which is like a front end for Libri. Libri is a video blockchain that has come out recently as kind of like a censorship resistant version of YouTube. And Odyssey makes it really easy to use. It has like a familiar YouTube style interface. You get some free Libri when you sign up for an account, and you can pay to upload your content, and then you earn more Libri coins per view. And it pays a lot better than YouTube for content creators. So a lot of content creators have left YouTube for obvious reasons due to censorship and the fact that the ad revenue has been getting just decreased and decreased and decreased. So now they're creating content on Libri, and they're making a lot more money. The good thing about Libri, even though it's a shitcoin, you can convert it on many exchanges for Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency that you like. So it's a good platform, and you can check out our Bitrefill channel on Libri, which I'll include in the description.
Nice. I mean, yeah, I checked out Odyssey as well, and I love the idea of a decentralized YouTube. It's brilliant. Like, because obviously, as you say, there's a lot of censorship going on YouTube, especially with cryptocurrency. And they had the adpocalypse years ago, and people aren't getting paid much at all, really, compared to what they used to. And also, I mean, I'm super pro Odyssey because when you go on there, you're met with the line, "Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man," which is literally a quote from one of my favorite films of all time, The Big Lebowski. So I straight away am a fan of that from the get-go. But that's cool. Well, yeah, I guess that gives you guys out there a little sort of summary of a few different decentralized platforms, social media platforms, video platforms, mainly cryptocurrency linked ones as well. So you can kind of take that and maybe explore yourselves and try and support different communities if you fancy. So this brings us to our final segment of the podcast, which is the good news outro. And I have about 60 seconds worth of good news for you to leave you after this podcast in a positive, happy space, which is what we all want to be 24/7 if we could be. So here goes. A Himalayan state in India has become the first to give wives co-ownership of ancestral land. A farm in Atlanta has created the largest free food forest in the US, where you can walk in and pick fruits and vegetables as you wish. A surfer has been reunited with his board by some Good Samaritans 400 miles away, a month after it floated out into the sea. A teen has collected 30,000 pairs of shoes to donate to the homeless in Los Angeles. A new plant-based plastic has been created, which can be broken down and recycled with near-perfect efficiency. Haley Arcano, who survived cancer at 10 and is now 29 years old, is set to be the youngest person ever launched into space. A man who was starting a new job and couldn't afford dress shoes offered his services as a handyman in order to raise funds to buy the shoes, but instead was overwhelmed with donations of shoes and belts from local citizens. A 15-year-old has refurbished nearly 100 discarded computers and donated them to people in need. And finally, after spotting an 8-year-old child playing basketball using a trash can, a man named Devin Hinkston bought and then gifted the child's family a brand new basketball hoop. So there you go. That's your positive news for the week, everyone. That's got me with a slight smile, which is good. And yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have you listening to us. And it's been a pleasure to chat to you guys as well today. So yeah, basically my final thing is see you later. Have a great week and buy Bitcoin.